Hi, I'm Avery Francis. Welcome back to the Counterculture Teen Podcast. Take a look at the two photos on your screen. I'm willing to bet you recognize the iconic image on the right, but look closely at the one on the left. It looks remarkably similar, doesn't it? Well, that brings us right into our topic for today, the Iwo Jima flag raisings. And yes, you heard that correctly. Raisings, plural. Let's dive right into it. I actually chose this topic because it's been a massive point of discussion at my house lately. My dad and I have been deep diving into this history, so today I'm going to share some of the things I've learned, and hopefully you'll walk away learning something new as well. So, what happened to the original flag, and why did they have to raise a second one? The first flag was small and hard to see from a distance, especially since a battle had just happened and the air was filled with debris. It was supposed to be a symbol of victory and hope for all the Marines that survived, but many couldn't see it through the smoke and hazy atmosphere. The battalion commander figured this would happen, so he made an order to take it down a few hours later. He also wanted to keep it safe from harm and preserve it as an artifact. So, they raised another flag. Allegedly, he also wanted the first flag as a personal souvenir and trophy for his battalion's victory. The second flag was 8 feet by 4 feet. Compared to the original, 4.5 feet by 2 feet, it was huge. How long did the second flag stay on Iwo Jima? It flew for 3 weeks, and then it was taken to Washington, D.C. Now it is permanently displayed in the National Museum of the Marine Corps. The first flag was eventually sent to the same place. Today, since its condition is fragile, it's currently kept in a climate-controlled facility for restoration. But it is brought out with the other flag every year during February and March for the anniversary of the battle. Why did the first flag raising not become famous, and what made the second one so famous? The first photo, taken by Staff Sergeant Luis Lowry. Due to his photography style, it came out looking a little chaotic and forced. It showed Marines standing around, some crouched ready for combat, all surrounding a tiny flag that didn't stand out. The second photo, taken by AP photographer Joe Rosenthal. Funny enough, he actually missed the first flag raising. So, when he heard another was going up, he rushed to get a shot. His photo was an accidental masterpiece, and there are quite a few reasons why it became so iconic. It was well angled, featuring a dramatic triangle of perfectly captured action. If you're familiar with photography, you'll know that shapes can make a photo really stand out. It looks quite photogenic, especially if it wasn't even planned out that way. The massive flag caught the wind at just the right second. And it also was a powerful metaphor. Since the figures' faces were blurry, combined with the poses they were in, it served as a sort of symbol of true battle on the front lines. Plus, they truly were fighting the wind on the mountaintop. Personally, I think both look pretty good. It's strange why it wasn't the pair of pictures that became famous. Both photos show different sides of the war. The first was staged, but seeing all the Marines smiling at the camera added its own charm. Then again, unplanned photos also look good. The double meaning in the second photo is quite clear, even if it wasn't its intended purpose. Now, let's dive a little deeper. Just who were the flag raisers, and what happened to them? First raising group, Lieutenant Harold Schreier. Survived the war, retired as a colonel. Platoon Sergeant Ernest Thomas. Died in action on Iwo Jima. Corporal Charles Lindbergh. Wounded on Iwo Jima, survived the war. Private First Class James Michaels. Survived the war. Private First Class Raymond Jacobs. Survived the war. Second raising group. Corporal Harlan Block. Died in action on Iwo Jima. Private First Class Franklin Sosley. Died in action on Iwo Jima. Sergeant Michael Strank. Died in action on Iwo Jima via friendly fire. Corporal Harold Keller. Survived the war. Private First Class Harold Schultz. Wounded on Iwo Jima, survived the war. Corporal Ira Hayes. Survived the war. Here's a look at the final guy in the list, Ira Hayes. His story really shows the dark side of his whole situation. Just like the other guys, he didn't think his actions were a big deal and didn't look for fame. He actually admitted it was him in the photo right before the image blew up. Once it went viral, the military pulled him off the front lines and flew him back to the States to tour around and sell war bonds. But Hayes hated being called a hero. He couldn't shake the survivor's guilt, knowing so many of his friends died on that island. The pressure, the publicity, and his severe PTSD drove him to heavy drinking. It got so bad that his superiors kicked him off the tour and sent him back to his unit in Hawaii. The war ended soon after, but his mental health just kept getting worse. In the end, Hayes' tragic life shows the massive gap between the shiny version of heroism sold to the public and the brutal reality Marines actually faced. That photo was really just a stroke of luck in the middle of a nightmare. So, in summary, there were actually 2 flag raisings on Mount Suribachi. The first flag was too small to see from a distance, leading to the famous moment of the second flag. The second photo was an accidental masterpiece due to its dramatic composition and strong symbolism. The men who raised both flags all faced very different fates, with many losing their lives on the same island just days later, or left to suffer the rest of their lives with the horrors of war. So, finally, I highly recommend reading Flags of Our Fathers. It offers a unique point of view on this piece of history, especially since the author interviewed some of the family, colleagues, and friends of the real flag raisers. It's definitely worth adding to your reading list. Also, just a quick mention, all the sources used for today's episode are linked in the description below. And that brings us to a wrap. Thanks for tuning into another mini episode of Counterculture Teen. We'd love to hear your questions and thoughts, so be sure to leave a comment or a like. We appreciate all your support, so if you haven't yet, please subscribe and join our email list using the link in our channel bio. See you in the next episode.